Mojisola Christiana Ade and Nigerian Senate. We, members of the Stand Up Nigeria, address you this afternoon to express our worry and sadness over the high-handedness and illegality being perpetrated by the NAFDAC DG, Professor Mojisola Christiana Ade, and our co-travelers. We read with root shock a piece of news item on the print media, broadcast and other media outlets credited to the NAFDAC purportedly placing a ban on the production, distribution and consumption of alcoholic beverages in sachet and small bottled water glass bottles below 200 ml by December 2025. This draconian pronouncement by the Director General, Professor Mojisola Christiana Ade, in collaboration with some members of the Nigerian Senate, is a sharp contrast to the Renew Hope agenda of His Excellency President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, who rose to power with people-oriented development blueprints and immediately embarked on total diversification of the nation's economy to make resources available for the execution of capital projects, as can be seen in the full deregulation of the Nigerian oil sector downstream. Our views with this said publication lies in its hasty and undemocratic nature. The agency in question has failed to engage critical stakeholders and industry players to find a common ground in line with the resolution reached at the parley with the Federal Ministry of Health and members of the House of Representatives, where far-reaching resolutions were made. We are further constrained that the ban is pursuant to illegal resolution passed by the Senate, an arm of government that is ordinarily supposed to be representing the interests of all Nigerians, directing NAFDAC to enforce the illegal ban on December 31st, 2025 without hearing from the second part. We strongly suspect that the alleged Senate resolution was passed at the behest of NAFDAC at its sitting on Thursday, November 6, 2025, without taking cognizance to the ongoing consideration of the matter by the members of the House of Representatives. Meanwhile, a directive for a one-year extension by the Ministry of Health, a supervising organ of government that is constitutionally saddled with the responsibility of overseeing NAFDAC, leading to the consideration and validation of a draft on a national alcoholic policy by stakeholders is still being deliberated upon. We are taken aback because the issue of ban on alcohol in sachet and small PET bottles were resolved by a high-powered committee of stakeholders who validated the national alcohol policy in October 2025, where key recommendations were made, including 1. Multi-sectoral action plan, robust and pragmatic enforcement plan by law enforcement agencies, establishment of licensed liquor store outlet in local government areas across the country, increased monitoring and surveillance to ensure compliance, checked by NAFDAC, FCCPC and others to guarantee quality assurance in terms of content and safety. Product regulation by relevant bodies, monitoring and enlightenment campaign on the danger of underage consumption of alcohol and its sales in motor park. Enlightenment campaign to be carried out in secondary schools across the country to enlighten students on danger and vices associated with the abuse of alcohol. All these were agreed upon by stakeholders at the event, which we believe was a more transparent process as against the recent pronouncement of purported outright bans. It is also worthy to note that the unfounded and untested statement of abuse by the minor has been dismissed by several independently research conducted by the government. The industry has gone further, notwithstanding the report of the survey, to initiate series of campaigns in respect of responsible alcohol consumption in order to discourage underage abuse, which has so far cost industry operators a whooping sum of over ₦1 billion in advert placement in major media giants across the Federation and has been very impactful in discouraging abuse of underage persons. More so, it is important to state that the purported directive for an outright ban is unfair and unacceptable, given the fact that NAFDAC had issued its own violation of the terms of a more inclusive process that was organized by the agency supervising Ministry of Health. It is our position that NAFDAC should have presented its position before the Senate Committee alongside the Ministry during the validation, rather than bypassing these processes and opt to approach the National Assembly without giving other stakeholders opportunity of fair hearing. Unfortunately, the implications of these pronouncements are too grave to be ignored. It is economically counterproductive for a government that is expanding its revenue net to gulp in more resources for the execution of infrastructural projects. If allowed to stand, it will cause economic dislocation of unimaginable proportion for the nation at this critical time. It will have grievous consequences for our nascent economy, resulting to a loss of over 1.9 trillion investment by indigenous Nigerian company with attendant mass retrenchment of over 500,000 direct employees and approximately 5 million indirect jobs through contract, marketing, and other logistic reduction in capacity, utilization, and manufacturing, which recent quarterly economic indices suggest a gradual upward movement owing to revenue from alcohol industry's contribution as a component of food and beverages sector, and a loss of indigenous business that may gradually obliterate local entrepreneurship development in the country. Our prayers that the Minister of Health and coordinating Ministry of Health and Social Welfare to kindly endorse the draft copy of the validated Nigerian alcohol policy and its multi-sectoral implementation framework, that the Senate should act with dignity, fairness, and respect for all in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that they sought to uphold, and revisit the matter by way of calling for a stakeholder consultation, either through public hearing or focused meeting with relevant industry players in the alcohol beverage industry, as was robustly done by the House of Representatives. That Professor Mojisola Christian Adeye, the NAFDAC DG, should desist from further running the agency like a private business enterprise and subjecting it to public ridicule or resign, as her action and continuous stay in office pose serious threat to the full implementation of Mr. President's Renew Hope agenda. Go through the relevant channel. We will put pressure on the Ministry of Health that have done a very good job by engaging stakeholder consultation. And what is baffling us is that the result of the policy discussion is still not yet out, except the NAFDAC chairperson is trying to bypass the ministry, the supervising ministry. So if no action is taken by either the Senate or NAFDAC, we'll put more pressure on the Ministry of Health to assert its position as the supervising ministry to override the NAFDAC chairperson. And of course, if the ministry equally refuses to toe the line, we will equally go out en masse to mobilize and stop this illegality. We must be seen to be doing what is right. It is process that drive governance. Nobody should bypass process, because of course we are not saying don't ban, but if you don't carry all stakeholders along the line again, we'll create more problem that we are trying to solve as it were.